Go to any kind of PV plant and you can see lithium-ion batteries, particular LFP, that is the solution that comes to the market first. But this is not enough. I think that other kind of batteries should have their own market, and for sure, hydrogen, thermal, energy storage, another kind of type of energy storage systems will cover all the needs that we are now discovering.
And regarding hard-to-abate industries and sectors dependent on fossil fuels, do they need a storage or they need another thing, something more than the storage? Mikel?
So I would say it depends quite a lot on the consumption profile of the industry, because some of them, let's say that they are going to be able to be enough flexible, for example, to focus or to try to center quite a lot of their consumption under the solar curve. So at the end, they are going to be able to match good prices together with their consumption. But in other cases, for processes which are maybe more rigid and not so flexible, they're going to need the storage, not only as a way to decarbonize and as a way to be able to trust some kind of charge, you know, all the stuff, charge from solar curve and then go into the night and discharging the battery, but also because they're going, in a future, we're going to see a mix into the industry, which is going to be a mix between energy consumption and quite a lot of technologies all around. For example, quite a lot of industries, they're going to have electrolyzer plus batteries plus EV chargers plus green heat plus quite a lot of technologies all around. And at the end, the best system, the battery, is going to be some kind of that they enable, the one that is going to enable everything to happen. I mean, you're going to need some intelligence over the battery, but at the end, the battery is going to be the one charging, discharging, or giving the different services that even the industry itself, not the grid, is going to need. So batteries for sure, yes, mandatory, not only connected to the grid, but also connected to the industries and the consumption points. Also because we are moving to a much more difficult, complex, and flexible system within this 50-minutal system, in which each decision is going to be multiplied by 4. So we're going to have quite a lot of periods within the day to optimize consumption, production, storage, flexible consumption, rigid consumption. So yeah.
Okay, thank you very much. So
if I,
sorry,
this is very high, the volume. Sorry.
Perfect.
If I may add a small comment on the technology for energy storage. I think there are many technologies that we can all think about in the future that will appear, and maybe they are even more technically adequate for some of the services that we need for the power systems. But if we have a look at the national plans for energy storage, which we think they are quite conservative in terms of the needs for energy storage, and they are pointing out we need 12 to 16 gigawatt of energy storage stationary by 2030. And we take into account the permitting time of the project. We are talking about 5 years today here in Spain as a usual timeline for a project to be built and start operation. I think there is not much of a discussion that we have to start now. We have to start the project. We have to start this 12 gigawatt of projects as soon as possible, because otherwise we won't meet these requirements. And the requirements are there. They don't matter to the industry, to the investment, but they are there because they are the technical feasible solution. So it is a good orientation point. So, and also, if we want to compare technologies, I would like to add, it is very important for all of us to gain some sensitivity in, I think, the most important indicator, which is an indicator that is not discussed that much, we have the feeling, which is the levelized cost of storage. And if we compare, for example, in Spain we have a lot of pumped hydro systems, and we have potential to develop many more pumped hydro systems with existing hydraulic presas, plants. If we compare the costs, we see that Iberdrola was announcing they estimate a cost of 1,000 to 1,200 euros per kilowatt to build pumped hydro on existing hydropower plants. So if we compare with lithium ion, we can have competitive batteries in terms of costs with up to 6 or 7 hours of storage, which is a lot. So up to 6 or 7 hours of lithium ion batteries are competitive to pumped hydro. Just, I think
there are different questions. No, one of the questions, of the beginning question was the stability of the grid. Another thing is energy shifting. No, and they are two very different things. No, so I think, or at least in ASEAN is our position, it's not a competition between technologies. It's a long race in order to get decarbonization. This is the key, and this is the difficult. No, try to find a way to get this situation and this game. I don't know. Michael,
yeah, I would like to say one thing. I think in order to focus a little bit the conversation, we need a market. Okay, I mean technology is there. There is no doubt about the technology. We can see many electric cars, etc., and all other technology that can be used. I'm talking about BESS because the panel is about batteries, energy storage system, and we don't have a clear market in Spain right now. There is some ideas, some news, etc. It's a good moment for development. We are focused on that. We have thousands of development at this moment in order to be ready. But also it's a good moment for engineering in order to be specialized on this kind of technologies. But also it's the moment to define the market. Today, I have written in my schedule that on Monday was published something about a draft about capacity market of a Spanish market, etc. Because we are going to wait to European Union or something like that. There is nothing published. So we need something like that in order to start to build this market, to understand at the end how this super big capex of the batteries can be decreased with some mechanisms in order to have something exponential in these developments. And also, obviously, and I say before, we need to understand well the market, when the arbitration, where the secondary markets, in order to define the investment that can be in storage, in BESS. I always talk about BESS. Because without that, no one is going to invest. We are going to be talking all the time about the development, etc. We're going to spend some money in DSA in order to have some land close to the interconnection point, but in order to go ahead with a big investment and to have flexibility in the system based on BESS, on storage and batteries, it's not going to be easy. There is other markets that they are working well. We can do exactly the same. We can copy them. It's the easy way. Or maybe we can adapt something to our market, etc., to the European Union. But today, we are not there. And it's something that I believe in this forum we need to push and to say that without this establishment, without these rules, without this to define well the rules in order to go ahead on the market, in order to go ahead with investment, it's not going to be possible. And I think it's the moment. I mean, 2 years ago, we tried, but today, keep in your mind that 2025, 2026, if everything goes as the government says, etc., we are building 40 gigawatts of PV. So imagine what is going to happen in the moon. And we don't have a solution right now. So we need to start with that, I believe.
Regarding with this, I think we can connect with the batteries. No, can be in a standalone, can be co-located, or it can be even in the demand side. No, so it's an open question. What are the different incentives for each business model? You talk something about that, and specific questions. Thinking on rooftop, I don't know if in the previous panel has talked about this, but how can a PPA be structured for a storage system? It's important for industry a temporal and geographical correlation, as it is happening with hydrogen. What do you think about this?
Okay, in case not, I go ahead. It's okay? Okay. So I will say each one has its own place So we're going to see for sure a standalone plus hybrid system plus batteries behind the meter for sure. I will say that one thing which is super important is that, and this is something to take quite in mind for developers, is that depending on which is the business model and how you are trying to develop a battery, the dimension in the technology and everything all around the system is going to be different. So be careful with copy-paste and ask for request access and connection, because at the end the system is going to be quite different. When it comes to standalone batteries, even though the last grants coming from Europe, they were asking for 4 hours systems, I do think more room. I think that there is going to be more room for slow duration batteries, 1, maybe 2 hours connected to the grid when it comes to standalone, because probably the business case is going to be much focused on giving services to the grid, much more than storing energy. Well, if we go to hybrid systems in which you put a BESS together with PV or whatever, the business case somehow should be, how do I protect PV from cannibalization? So probably you're going to need to adapt for 4, even for 6 hours in order to be able to move as much as energy as possible from your solar curve. And when it comes to behind the meter, it's going to depend quite a lot, depending on residential, commercial, or industrial, which is going to be the size. So I think that behind the meter are going to be a super wide range of batteries, because in our case we have already give like some offers for 6 hours, but also for just half an hour. So it depends quite a lot on the case of the industry itself.
So I understand that, for example, Pampa Hydro with PV, it's a good linking.
Yeah, for sure. We have pump together with wind into our island, so for sure that this is going to happen, I think. Yeah.
Okay, perfect. So this situation...
Can I add one comment to what Michael is saying? And I do concur that industry standard is going to go to 2 hours, most likely, because between the cost of installing a battery and how much you can get out of it, probably the sweet spot is 2 hours. If you look at what happened with the Inflation Reduction Act in North America, approved by Biden a few months ago, initially in the US, if you wanted to pair PV with storage, in order to get an investment tax credit, you needed to circulate 75% of the energy that would go through the battery would come from the PV. And they realized that didn't make too much sense, I think. So you need to install storage where there really is a need for the storage, so where the system has a requirement to provide firmness, flexibility, stability, resiliency, etc. Sometimes that is beneficial if you pair it to PV, because you save in development cost, same interconnection, same land site, same permits. But sometimes it makes a lot of sense. Take a look at Australia, for example, very, particular load pockets, to put it separately. So I don't think there is really a say for saying it needs to be paired or not to be paired. It's really demand need based. And I think we could look, for example, at other countries where they have already deployed more. I think I heard 13 gigawatts in the US. There's a lot of use cases there that we can learn from. Anyways, my 2 cents.
There's one point here.
Yeah.
There's one point here, and one thing that we should take into care is that the main mature markets for battery storage today, they are mainly because there's some key points happening, and is that quite a lot of renewables coming too fast. They have a super weak grid connection, and they even, in some cases, even electric islands. This is not the case in Spain. So I do see Spain much more as a energy-based market, much more than a power-based market, because we still have 25 gigawatts of gas. They're not going to run out from one day to another. So I do see also that, for example, UNEF has presented one case related to technical constraints. When it comes to technical constraints, once we have a super cannibalized market for a PV, in case you are in a node in which there are technical constraints, you can shut down your PV plant, you can charge your battery during your technical constraints. You're going to be paid with 300 or 250 euros per megawatt, and you are charging for free the battery. That's super nice. And for that, probably it's going to be 2 hours, but also 4 hours could work.
There's a question. I don't know.
And I understand that now I have enough voice. It's fine. I understand that the manufacturing for the batteries, taking care of the envelope for the batteries and so on, is the same more or less for 2, half, or whatever. The big difference for the 8 hours or any other period is the duration, how do you charge it, and how do you compress the whatever is storing. I am not a supporter to avoid the cannibalization, because this is only because of commercially we just decide to do it on PV with no sense and with no strategy. So we are paying what we did. And as we are paying what we did, okay, why not to be paid? Because if the price is negative, I could be paid, no?
It's quite difficult to happen.
So, okay, my question is, why are you defending to avoid the cannibalization on PV if we need a dispatchable grid system?
I don't know if someone wants to answer, but...
In case you don't want to go ahead, Spain, in case not...
Yeah, I can try to give an answer. With a consultant and also a developer from One Solar, we also do many studies on the business model for energy storage. We focus more on utility scale. And I don't fully agree with what was talked here, that there is no appetite and no interest in the business case for storage, especially because we see this cannibalization factor growing a lot. And we work for many project developers and investors that have firm commitment to develop energy storage plants here now. And although the business case is tricky, as Kim explained to us in the first session in the morning, if you remember, the business case requires to stack many things, energy arbitrage, taking advantage of the cannibalization, or ancillary services, or other things. There is also another factor, which is you're minimizing the risk. If you are investing in PV and storage, you're minimizing the risk of the PV investment. Because you know, if the PV investment goes wrong with too much cannibalization, then you will have the counterbalance that the energy storage will take more profit. And yeah.
In relation a little bit with that, and answering also your question, in my view, no more development of PV in Spain without the storage. This is the first sentence. The ones that we have now in process, we'll see. There is the hybrid node, I mean the co-located in the States, and it's possible to go ahead with the storage and to improve your financial model. Last plant that they sell, 25 megawatts in Extremadura, we have a huge curtailment, and it's not expected. In your financial model, you include 35 years, beautiful, nice, with birds, etc. But after that, you sell the project and you have a big issue. The curtailment is here from now to ever. I mean, we know that. The only solution is interconnection. I don't believe in that. Or maybe go through storage, hydrogen. When I say storage, it's always batteries I have in my mind. Also dam, etc. But I think it's difficult. There are some companies well positioned, new ones could be difficult. And also, even hydrogen, using another vector, energy vector. In order to say, I believe cannibalization is there, we need to look for a solution for sure. And between co-located standalone, I think there is market obviously for both. Co-located is something that is possible to do that. All the owner of plants that now are in the market, I believe that it's a good idea to talk with some of the developers in Spain in order to go ahead with a hybrid node. And in case of co-located, standalone, you can go ahead. We don't know really well the path, because no one write down. You need to go ahead. The developer will explain, and we can do that. And now it's possible. I mean, there are some batteries standalone with interconnection access. So it's something that we can do. But, and finish my exposition now, I'm coming back to my first sentence, that is, we need information of the market in the node in order to understand what kind of battery I need, how my investment can go, because if not, the investors are not going to be in this country, because we are going to have a huge curtailment that is there. We have a really good net grid. It's better than the state, for obviously in Mexico and other. This is a good thing. But we have many of everything, and particularly PV. And this is a huge problem in the future. So I believe that this information is the critical one, and not many associations are talking about that. We need the information in the node. We need the curtailment in the node. We need the prices in the node in order to have a unstable market, in my view.
Okay, as Alan asks for this into CMC, that we should publish that. But let's remember, let's remind that we have
a little bit
about this or solutions
about that.
About this. Okay.
Yes, I agree with Alberto about the need of co-location. That's important. It's really a good application to take advantage of the connection point. For the PV to use with a battery, it is really a nice business. But I think it's also important the standalone BESS in the power system because it's also a need, and it's easy to be deployed. The development is much quicker, so that's really a benefit. And with a nice regulation, it could be included in any nodes with curtailment and will provide advantages to the power system and the deployment, decoupling the rest development with the BESS development. And I think we should also bear in mind that in the future, not too far, we are going to need long duration storage. So standalone storage is the way. I think that we will go to face that in the future, and so yes to co-location, but also yes to standalone.
So I don't understand well. So long storage for standalone or for co-located? Because I don't.
I said standalone.
Standalone. Okay. So let's remind that this is a decarbonization panel, not only a storage panel. So I would like ask you about solutions. How solutions using storage provide you, Manuel? I know that you have a good portfolio.
Okay. Let me start saying that EDP is a utility based historically in hydro and thermal plants. So the first decarbonization goal that we have is to close, to retire that thermal plants and transform into renewables. So the target for EDP is to be carbon free for 2030. And also we are in parallel, of course, developing renewables. We are the fourth biggest renewable player in the world with more than 15 gigawatts worldwide. So said this, what about storage? What are we doing in flexibility? I would like to start saying that most of us are private companies, so we need to make business. We have explained here a wide variety of technologies, use cases, applications. That's wonderful, but in the end, we need to find the cases. We need to find the right investment, and so in this sense, we need to explore the markets where the storage is mature, where the regulation is in place, where we can find the revenues and so on. So we are constructing projects in US. We are working also in England and Scotland, and we are seeing good signals in other countries in across Europe, like Germany, Belgium, Italy. But what happens with Spain? In Spain, the business model is not so clear as of today, at least with our estimates and forecasts. And we are backing up our calculation with the party support as a first step to try to get that business working. So this also, again we are trying to collocate, to include that batteries into our operating plants. We are also developing a standalone in a small, medium size across Spain, and a clear objective that we have is to convert our coal plants that are close to be decommissioned into renewable and storage hubs. And we have three significant projects in Spain, two of them in Asturias, Aboño and Soto de Ribera. In Aboño, we are going to deploy hopefully 100 megawatts of electrolyzers. It's very close to industrial facilities, so it's a good location to sell that hydrogen. Then we are planning in Soto de Ribera a long duration storage, not lithium, nickel, but it's really a really hard mission to make a long duration storage work now. We see that it will be real at any point in time, but right now it's really a dream to get that business working. But we are trying, and also in South Spain, in Los Barrios, we have there also a coal plant, and we are trying to develop there a mixture between hydrogen and standalone batteries, because the site is relatively small, so we can do some PV there, but not enough for the connection. Let's have in mind that we are having there some hundreds of megawatts free in some years, so they are nudos de transición justa. So we are struggling to get real projects in that point.
Any additional idea?
May I? Well, one point that I think that is super important to say here, and is aligned with the one that you connected, is that one of the main problems in Spain is that we all are asking or requesting access and connection, and then asking the government, please give me the business case. That's a huge problem, because this is what is happening with PV. That's why we have like this super huge of 40 gigawatts under development or even permitted. And now, oh fuck, we have cannibalization, what we are going to do. Please, government, give me some subsidies. This is not the way. So first you need to take into account the business case, and then to decide which is your system and how to go ahead. So one of the main things that I think that is not working in Spain is that we don't have enough good transparency page in which we have real access to the data. Because this business case to batteries today in Spain is profitable, even I will say hugely profitable. But the main point is that we don't have visibility on distribution points and what is happening in those distribution points with technical constraints, for example. So maybe it's more about having like clear rules on the business, clear data on the business, and once do I have the chance to assess them and to build a strategy, then we go for access and connection. But here we have quite a lot of players requesting things that they are not going to be able to manage.
We will continue asking for that kind of clarification.
Bubbles.
So at this point, I don't know if the audience know, but we have today with us the president of the European Energy Storage Association, that is David Post. So I have to take this opportunity and I have to ask you, it's about what are the main changes for storage in the European market reform, and what will be the difference between the current capacity mechanisms and the future capacity payments for non-fossil flexibility?
Yeah, thanks for the question. Well, as you might have seen, the EU came out with a market design directive in end of March, I think it was this year. Like everything, it's not perfect, but it does contain already certain elements or factors that I would say facilitate the deployment of energy storage. There's talks about peak saving products. That is icing on the cake, because energy storage is exactly what it can help you with is to clip the peaks in certain moments and benefit from that through arbitrage. In addition, there's talks about specific targets for flexibility at the country level, which I think is important, because in the end of the day, it makes clear that there is an awareness that flexibility is needed. You know, more rollout of renewables. You have issues with, you know, frequency regulation. So if you build products around that with particular targets, that's going to help for sure. And then there's the big debate about capacity payments, capacity mechanism. I'm not sure exactly where Spain stands today. I do remember a few months ago I was in a panel, and you know, the big question was like, when are we going to see something more specific? Well, step number one, there is talks about capacity payments. And to your second question, I would like to rephrase it a little bit if you allow me to, because there is no perfect answer of how a capacity mechanism should look like. It's very market dependent, right? We've discussed about whether some people think everything that is from now on PV needs to go with storage. Fair point. Others think maybe it's more need-based, so you can also accommodate standalone solutions. Fair point too. If you look at what's happened in Europe, for example, I think UK was the first country that really set up what was called the Enhanced Frequency Response tender in 2016. 250 megawatts were tendered with a 4-year capacity payment, so you have to be available at 95%. I bought one of the projects that won, so I know this very well. Not myself, my company, sorry. And that worked. There was an oversubscription of almost 13 times, so that means there were like more than, what is it, quick math, 2.5 gigawatts of projects available. So when you go to the point of when is the market ready here in Spain, I do suggest you start developing projects now, because there's going to be a moment that there's going to be a capacity mechanism, and you better be ready with your projects at that point, because if you're not going to win the game. If we look at Italy, Italy in 2019 had a Asta Capacità, which is the first tender, which was meant to go only for combined cycles and open cycles. I remember presenting 200 megawatts of projects in that tender. Terna was surprised, but we won and we were awarded, even with a D rating. 2 years later, 1.3 gigawatts were awarded in Italy. Why? Because there was a capacity payment 5 years with a floor mechanism, the same as we've seen in California. In 2016, it was 100%. 2018, 2020, resource adequacy, roughly 30%. So that means that of your business case, you need to make money on merchant revenues coming from energy arbitrage and frequency regulation, whether it's the first primary, tertiary, secondary. The capacity payment represents roughly 30%, which is what we call a floor capacity payment. Is there a magic bullet for Spain? I don't know. Let's sit down, let's see what the most appealing pricing is. But what is clear is you need to give investors a price signal. There's tons of projects being developed, queued up in interconnection pipelines, land positions taken. The big utilities probably are using old thermal plants that are going to phase down to use that and deploy, either storage or a combination. So the European directive already recognizes that capacity payment is needed, or some form of a capacity mechanism. But you cannot ask them to say in every country how it needs to be done exactly. I think here, associations like you guys and everybody, you should sit down with the people and say, what is the right signal that we want to give to investors? Talk to the people, ask them, white paper about it. That's going to help you make a lot of progress. And then the last thing, there's also the Net Zero Industry Act, which is, let's say, that act that tries to identify technologies that are, the key technologies to help Europe become sustainable with 2030 and 2050 targets. Energy storage is one of them. How is that going to happen? With the right price signal. So we're back again to that capacity mechanism. I hope that answers your question.
Yes, of course. Thank you very much. Okay, pues I guess this is, I hope you like this panel. As conclusion, perhaps, is the long storage has to be standalone or not. That we have probably a profitable business case today, or perhaps not, and that probably will have another capacity payment or mechanism in next months, or perhaps not. No. So I hope you like and enjoy this panel, and welcome our storage energy world, that it's apasionante, como diría alguien que conozco. Thank you very much.
Thank you.